Your dog sees you walk into the room, and before they do anything else, before they come to you, before they wag, before they make a sound, they do something that you have probably seen hundreds of times without ever stopping to think about what it means. They stretch. Front legs forward, chest lowering toward the ground, back end staying high, a long, slow, deliberate extension that looks almost like a yoga pose. And then they come to you, or they wait for you, or they just hold it for a moment, eyes on your face, in that stretched position that feels casual and unremarkable and completely ordinary. You have seen this so many times it has become invisible. But here is what nobody has ever told you about that stretch. It is not a stretch. Not in the way you think. Not in the way a human stretches when they wake up or stand up after sitting too long. What your dog is doing in that moment is one of the most intentional, most emotionally loaded forms of communication in their entire behavioral vocabulary. And the fact that it looks like a simple physical movement is exactly why almost every dog owner in the world has been misreading it their entire life. Stay until the end, because the last thing we cover will change how you feel every single time your dog does this to you from this day forward. Welcome to. If you want to truly understand what your dog is telling you every day, subscribe right now. Let's get into it. To understand what this stretch actually means, you first need to understand something about how dogs evolved to communicate, because they do not use words and they never developed the ability to point or gesture the way humans do. What they developed instead is a sophisticated system of body postures, whole body signals that carry meaning the way sentences carry meaning. And like sentences, these postures have grammar. They have context. They have nuance that changes depending on who they are directed at, when they happen, and what comes before and after them. Most owners learn a few basic words in this language. Tail wagging means happy, growling means warning, ears back means uncertain, and they stop there, which means they are understanding maybe 5% of everything their dog is actually saying to them every day. The stretch is in the other 95%, and it is one of the most important things in it. Here is what the stretch actually is. In canine behavioral science, the movement your dog makes when they lower their front end and extend their legs forward is called a greeting bow. Not a play bow, though it can look similar and the two are often confused. A greeting bow is specifically directed at a person or animal the dog has a bond with, specifically in the context of reunion or approach. It happens when you enter a room, when you come home, when you have been apart even for a short time and your dog sees you again. And it means something precise. Research into canine social signaling published in the journal Animal Cognition found that the greeting bow is one of the most consistent and universal communicative gestures in the domestic dog's behavioral repertoire. Unlike tail wagging, which varies in speed, direction, and amplitude depending on the emotional state, and unlike ear position, which is heavily influenced by breed anatomy, the greeting bow is structurally consistent across virtually every dog regardless of size, breed, or individual personality. Every dog who does it is saying the same thing. Read that again. Every dog, the same thing. A signal so consistent and so universal that behavioral scientists have been able to document it across thousands of individual dogs and find the same meaning every time. What meaning? I am glad you are here. I am open to you. I am making myself available to you right now in this moment. That is the greeting bow. That is what your dog has been saying every time they have done that stretch in your direction, not loosening their muscles, not working out a kink in their back, telling you, in one of the clearest signals their body knows how to make, that your presence matters to them and they want you to know it. Keep watching, because understanding what the greeting bow is only the beginning. What comes next is the science of why they do it, and it goes much deeper than most people expect. And before we go there, consider this. You have probably had your dog for months or years. You have probably seen the stretch dozens or hundreds of times, and until right now, you likely had no idea it had a name, a documented meaning, a consistent interpretation across every dog in every country in the world. That is not a failure of observation on your part. That is a failure of the information that reaches dog owners. Most people are never told that their dog has a language. They are told their dog has behaviors. And behaviors, by definition, are things you manage or modify or work around. Language is something entirely different. Language is something you learn, something you listen to, something you respond to. And the moment you start treating what your dog does as language rather than behavior, everything changes. Let's talk about what is happening inside your dog in the seconds before they do this. Your dog sees you. And the moment they do, a cascade of neurological and biochemical events begins that most owners never think about because it happens invisibly underneath the behavior they can see. Their brain recognizes you, not just visually. Dogs recognize their bonded humans through a combination of sight, scent, sound, and pattern, a multi-sensory recognition that is faster and more complete than almost anything else their brain does. The recognition happens in milliseconds. And when it happens, the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain, activates immediately. Oxytocin releases, dopamine fires, the neurochemistry of attachment and reward floods the system in response to the simple fact of your presence. You walked into the room and your dog's brain lit up in the same way that a human brain lights up when it sees someone it loves. And then the body responds. The greeting bow is the physical expression of that internal event. It is your dog's body translating the neurochemical surge of seeing you into a gesture. It is joy made physical, attachment made visible. The internal experience of "I am so glad you exist," expressed in the only language their body has available. A study from Asabu University in Japan, the same research institution that documented the oxytocin loop in mutual eye contact between dogs and owners, found that greeting behaviors in dogs trigger measurable oxytocin release in the owner as well. The greeting is not one-directional. When your dog greets you with the full intention of that bow, their brain chemistry changes, and yours does too. You are not just watching your dog stretch, you are participating in a biochemical exchange of attachment. One that evolution built into both of your species over thousands of years of living together. One that happens automatically, below the level of conscious thought, every time the conditions are right. Every time you walk into a room and your dog's brain recognizes you and their body responds with that bow. The science is not saying your dog is performing a trick or executing a trained behavior. The science is saying your dog's body is doing something involuntary. Something that happens because the neurochemistry demands it. Because you walked in and something in their brain said there they are, and the bow was the body's answer to that recognition. You are not just watching your dog stretch, you are participating in a biochemical exchange of attachment, a mutual, bidirectional, neurologically real event that bonds you more deeply to each other every time it happens. Now let's talk about the difference between the greeting bow and the play bow, because this is where most owners and even some trainers get confused, and the difference matters enormously. The play bow looks similar. Front end down, back end up, the same general posture. But it happens in a different context, with a different energy, and it carries a different meaning. The play bow is an invitation. It happens during or before play. It is often accompanied by a bounce, a bark, a wagging tail held high, a general quality of restless, excited energy. It is your dog saying, "Let's go. Let's do something. I want to run and chase and play right now." The greeting bow is quieter, slower, more deliberate. It happens at the moment of reunion, when you first appear, when you first enter the room, before play has been proposed or movement has begun. The energy is different, less frantic, more intentional, more like a held breath than an explosion, and the eyes are different. In the play bow, your dog's eyes are often scanning, moving, tracking potential movement and stimulation. In the greeting bow, the eyes come to your face and stay there. They are reading you. They are taking you in. They are doing the same thing we covered in a previous video, going straight to your right eye, assessing your emotional state, confirming who you are and how you are. The greeting bow is a moment of seeing. Your dog is not just expressing that they are glad you are there. They are actually looking at you. Really looking. In the specific, intentional, emotionally loaded way that only happens with the people they are most bonded to. Research into canine directed communication, the study of how dogs use gestures and postures towards specific individuals, has found that greeting bows are almost exclusively directed at bonded humans or animals. This is not a small detail. It is everything. Because it means that the stretch your dog does when the mailman comes to the door, or when a stranger approaches in the park, or when a new person enters your home, that is not a greeting bow. That is something else. Something more cautious, more exploratory, less committed. The greeting bow, the full deliberate lowering of the front end directed at you specifically, that is reserved. It is for the people who matter. For the relationships that have been built and tested and proven over time. Your dog does not hand this gesture out to everyone. They give it to the ones they have decided are worth the vulnerability of the full expression. Research into canine-directed communication, the study of how dogs use gestures and postures towards specific individuals, has found that greeting bows are almost exclusively directed at bonded humans or animals. Dogs do not greeting bow at strangers. They do not greeting bow at objects or at the environment. The gesture requires a recipient who matters. It requires someone the dog has decided is worth the full intentional communication of their whole body. If your dog greeting bows at you, you are that person. You are the one who gets the full signal, the deliberate, considered, completely genuine expression of what it means to them that you are here. Let's go one layer deeper, because there is a dimension to this behavior that almost no one talks about, and it involves something your dog cannot control. The greeting bow requires vulnerability. Think about the position for a moment. Front end lowered, head down, chest toward the ground. In terms of physical posture, it is one of the least defensible positions a dog can be in. Their throat is exposed, their movement is restricted, their ability to react quickly to a threat is compromised. In the wild, an animal does not put itself in this position unless it feels completely safe. The vulnerability of the greeting bow is not incidental. It is the point. It is your dog saying, with their body, I feel safe enough with you to be undefended in your presence. I trust you enough to lower myself. I am not protecting myself from you. That is not a small thing. For an animal whose nervous system still carries the ancient wiring of a creature that survived by being alert to threat, choosing to be physically vulnerable, even for a moment, even in a domestic home where no real threat exists, is a meaningful act. It is your dog choosing openness over protection. Connection over caution. You over whatever ancient instinct says keep your defenses up. A study from the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna found that dogs who regularly display greeting bows toward their owners show significantly higher scores on all measures of secure attachment, lower baseline anxiety, and greater behavioral flexibility in novel situations. The greeting bow is not just a sign of a happy dog. It is a sign of a dog who feels fundamentally safe in their relationship with you. A dog whose nervous system has decided, at the deepest level, that you are a safe place to be open with. Think about every time your dog has done this to you. And think about how many times you walked past it. How many mornings the stretch happened while you were reaching for your coffee. How many evenings it happened while you were checking your phone before you even put your bag down. How many hundreds of moments of complete, deliberate, vulnerable, intentional communication simply dissolved into the background noise of a day you were already too busy for. Your dog did not stop doing it. They kept reaching. Day after day, the same gesture, the same intention, the same message, regardless of whether you caught it, regardless of whether you responded, because that is what unconditional love does. It does not keep score. It does not stop trying because the attempts go unnoticed. It simply keeps reaching, in the hope that one day you will be still enough to feel it. Think about every time your dog has done this to you. Every morning when you walked into the kitchen, every time you came home from work, every time you appeared in a room they were already in, all those hundreds of stretches you barely noticed, all those moments of complete, deliberate, vulnerable communication that passed between you while you were thinking about something else. Your dog was telling you something every single time. I see you. I am glad you are here. I trust you enough to lower my defenses in front of you. You are the one I do this for. Here is the daily habit, starting today, not next week, not when things slow down. Today, when your dog gives you the greeting bow, give them 10 seconds of your complete and undivided self in return. Here is the daily habit. The next time your dog gives you the greeting bow, do not walk past it. Do not acknowledge it with a distracted pat on the head while you keep moving. Stop. Return it fully. You do not need to bow back, though some owners do, and there is evidence that dogs respond positively to mirrored body postures from their humans. What you need to do is meet the moment with the same intentionality your dog brought to it. Stop moving. Lower yourself to their level if you can. Make eye contact. Let your face be warm. Let your body be still. Give them 10 seconds of complete, unhurried, present acknowledgement. What you will notice when you do this consistently is a change in the quality of the greeting bow itself. It will become slower, more sustained. Your dog will hold the position longer because you are meeting it instead of moving through it. And in those extra seconds, something happens between you that is difficult to describe, but immediately recognizable when you feel it: connection. Real, mutual, biochemically genuine connection. The kind that the oxytocin loop produces in both of you simultaneously. The kind that your dog has been trying to initiate every single time they have stretched in your direction. They were not warming up their muscles. They were not working out tension from a long nap. They were not doing something random or reflexive or meaningless. They were reaching for you, in the clearest, most deliberate, most biologically honest way they know how, with their whole body, lowering their defenses, exposing their vulnerability, holding that position and looking up at your face because you are the one they saved this gesture for. You are the one who gets the full signal. The real one, the one that means everything. They were reaching for you, in the only language they have, with their whole body. In a gesture so ancient and so consistent that every dog who has ever loved a human has used it, across every breed, in every country, for 15,000 years. Your dog stretches toward you and the world stops for a moment while they tell you everything. A study from ERTV's Lore and University found that the frequency of greeting behaviors in dogs is one of the strongest single predictors of long-term bond quality between dog and owner. The dogs who greet with the most intention are the ones with the deepest bonds. And the owners who respond to those greetings with full presence are the ones whose dogs show the highest measures of emotional security and well-being across their entire lives. You have been receiving this gift every day. Now you know what it is. If this video changed how you see your dog stretch, that is exactly what it's here for. Subscribe right now and share this with every dog owner you know, because most of them have been walking past this moment their entire lives without knowing what they were missing. Your dog has been reaching for you. Now you can finally reach back.